This particular video is about Australia. In this video, we will guide you on how to use your loan to pay your tuition fees for getting the COE and also use that as a proof to eventually get your Australian student visa. Australia's student visa has the highest rejection rate of 20 to 25% and even more for few intakes. And the most common reason for rejection is most banks in India will have an issue in releasing money from your education loan before visa. They will be making all sort of excuses. Please do not hear all these excuses. The way you're going to show them how will you pay your tuition fees and your living expenses for your survival. That's how they decide whether to give you a student visa or not. And this funding proof can be Hello all, this is Damini, co-founder of WeMakeScholars, India's largest education finance platform. So we started in the year 2015 with funding and support from Government of India, and our sole purpose is to help students like you get a scholarship or an education loan for your higher studies abroad. Hence our videos are the most trusted source of information than watching some random blogger. Even though we share the information through these videos, but if any bank staff in your city denies accepting any information which is shared by us, then we are just a call away. Just call us and we will talk to that bank staff and clarify that. LoanFlix web series talks about everything about education loans, and this particular video is about Australia. In this video, we will guide you on how to use your loan to pay your tuition fees for getting the COE and also use that as a proof to eventually get your Australian student visa. And also how to handle that question, how will you fund your education, which comes up in the GTE assessment interview. Australian High Commission has a lot of restrictions around what kind of loan options are acceptable and which ones are not. In this video, I'll give you full clarity on that. Let's start. Australian High Commission is probably the most stringent when it comes to evaluating their student visa applications. Australia's student visa has the highest rejection rate of 20 to 25% and even more for few intakes. And the most common reason for rejection is no proper funding evidence. Due to a lot of students relying on part-time jobs to finance their tuition fees as well as living expenses while studying, Australian High Commission wants to make sure they only bring in such students to their country who have money. Those who are coming with an intent to study and not relying on part-time jobs while studying. Hence, the way you're going to show them how will you pay your tuition fees and your living expenses for your survival, that's how they decide whether to give you a student visa or not. And this funding proof can be your parent saving proof or it can be a loan sanction letter. And before even you file your Australian student visa, you will have to go through something called as GTE, which is Genuine Temporary Entrant Assessment, which is done by your university, in which they are basically trying to judge whether you are genuinely coming to Australia with an intent to study. And in this assessment interview, you will have to show how are you going to finance your education. Now let me tell you step by step how would you have to show the finance proof at each and every stage before you land in Australia as a student. So as soon as you get your admit, the first thing you should do is immediately arrange your funds, whether it is via loan or whether it is via your personal funds. It should be done immediately because all your further steps like GTE, COE, visa, everything depends on this. Now let me tell you some of the crucial funds related requirements which are set up by Australian High Commission. Number one, if you're going for a loan, the loan should not be a non-collateral or an unsecured loan. Australian High Commission does not accept or does not consider non-collateral loans as valid. Hence, you should go for a secured or a collateralized loan. Number two, if you're going for a collateralized loan, the collateral should belong to a family member. Even though the banks are ready to give you loans on the collaterals which belongs to third party, such as your family friends, your chacha, mama, maternal uncle, Australian High Commission looks at it negatively. Because according to them, if you're putting somebody else's collateral, then probably you do not come from a sound financial background. Number three, if you're taking a loan by keeping fixed deposit or FD as a collateral, the FD should be at least 3 months old because the FD date would come on the loan sanction letter. And number four, if you're using your personal bank balance to show as, savings as your funds, in that case, that bank balance should be there in that account for at least 6 months. You can receive one-on-one guidance on all these conditions from your financial officer who is going to guide you on your entire education loan process. If you haven't been assigned a financial officer yet, you can request a call back via the link which is in the video description, or you can call us on the number which is shown on the screen. Please remember, you don't have to pay any fees or service charge to your financial officer because all our services are absolutely free. We are funded and supported by the Ministry of IT, Government of India. Coming to the next step, if you're going ahead with an education loan, then immediately after getting the loan sanctioned, you should take a disbursement to pay your first year tuition fees, and also you should get 1 year living expenses disbursed in a bank account and keep a statement of that bank account handy for further steps. Most banks in India will have an issue in releasing money from your education loan before visa. They will be making all sort of excuses such as policy doesn't allow, or you pay from your own pocket and we will give you the reimbursement after you get the visa. Please do not hear all these excuses. Immediately call your WeMakeScholars financial officer and they will talk to the bank officer and sort it out. Please note that do not start your loan process on your own and then call the financial officer only when you are in trouble. In that case, we may not be able to help you. So you should start your education loan process with WeMakeScholars only. Let's move on. I know these disbursement requirements and conditions seems to be too tight and restrictive for a student, but believe me, all these conditions weren't there few years ago. Australian High Commission came up with these because they have burned their hands with multiple scams. The first one was when these unsecured loans were arranged by consultancies from these small-time micro lenders, and these loans were never capable of getting disbursed. This was just a show money. So they used to show that for Australian visa, and when the student landed in Australia, they were still struggling to pay their fees because the money would not come from these fake loans. And the second most notable scam was these fake loan sanction letters, which is issued by an SBI branch manager who was later fired. So what this manager was doing is he was taking 40,000 rupees to give a fake loan sanction letter on SBI's letterhead, and these loan applications were never ever logged into the system, and these were never genuine loan sanctions. So due to all these scams, Australian High Commission is very conscious now and has put all these restrictions, and now they make sure that if your funding proof is a loan, you should get your first year fees paid through this loan itself to make sure that it is a genuine loan. So the bottom line is, if you want to have a sure shot at your Australian student visa, make sure you are arranging a proper source of finance, be it your personal funds or it is a loan. It has to be genuine. It cannot be something which is made up by your consultants. Now, as I have already told you, the restrictions such as non-collateral loans are not acceptable. I want you to note that most of the students who are going to Australia and taking an education loan go for a government bank, not a private bank or NBFC. It is primarily for two reasons. Firstly, Australian High Commission does not recognize all private banks and NBFCs, but whereas government banks or all of them are recognized, so it's always safer to go for a government bank. Secondly, when you know that you have to go for a loan with a collateral, why would you go for a private bank? Everybody knows that the rate of interest of government banks is at least 1% cheaper, but most of the government banks requires a collateral. So now this 1% saving which you will have on interest rate, that's equal to 4 to 5 lakh saving on your entire loan tenure. I know government banks are not easy to deal with. They take months and months to process your loan, and that's why WeMakeScholars exists. You should know that WeMakeScholars was funded by Government of India to help students like you get support with your education loan, and all our services are absolutely free. When we started processing loans, we were helping students only with State Bank of India, and eventually we onboarded all other government banks and private options. So we can definitely help you get a loan for your education in Australia from a government bank. To get in touch with us, you can request a call back via the link which is in the video description, or you can directly call us on the number which is shown on the screen. You don't believe that we can be helpful with your loan? Check out our ratings on Google. We are rated 4.8 stars out of 5 with more than 3,000 reviews. Coming to your GTE assessment, once your loan is in process, you can start writing the GTE statement, and once your loan is approved, you can go ahead with your GTE assessment. Please note that GTE assessment should be done at least 2 to 3 months before your intake start date, which means your loan should be approved at least 3 months before your intake start date. And as part of GTE assessment, there will be an interview round, and one of the main questions in the interview will be how will you fund your education. For that, by this time your loan will already be approved, so you can just show them the loan sanction letter to answer their question. So after clearing GTE assessment, you will have to take a disbursement from your loan to pay your first year of tuition fees and also 1 year of living expenses, as I already mentioned earlier. After that, you will be able to get your COE, which is Certificate for Confirmation of Enrollment. Now with this COE and with this tuition fees payment proof and with the bank statement of your 1 year living expenses, you will be able to go ahead and file your Australian student visa subclass 500. And please remember that there is no visa interview for Australian student visa. That's it for this video. I know it was very informative information heavy video, but I wanted to give you like full in detail understanding of the process for financing, for your visa, for GTE, for COE, everything. And I hope you understood that after getting an admit also there are so many further steps. That's why many say that getting an admit is only 20% of the work. Rest of the steps is 80% of the work, and in those steps arranging the right finance is the most important thing. WeMakeScholars team can definitely help you arrange the right finance, and we assign you a dedicated financial officer who will be your single point of contact, and he or she will be an expert who has done more than 400 to 500 loan sanctions. Hence you will have the right mentor to guide you at every stage. And I'm repeating again, all the services are absolutely free. To get in touch with us, you can request a call back via the link which is in the video description, or you can call us on the number which is shown on the screen. And if you found this video useful, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and do hit the like button. See you soon with my next video.